that's it, that you start this again then?
Now they're going to take.
Hello everyone and welcome to Talk of the Town. You know who I am. I'm Karen Bukes and I'm the host for the evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. Well, let's start by saying hello to a few of our wonderful sponsors. Cape Auto Body and Service, Samoset Street and Sandwich Streets right here in Plymouth. Great service, great people. We love David and Kevin Gallerani. One Stop Painting, owned by Jeff Cohen. Everyone knows Jeff. Painting, papering, gutter cleaning, deck staining at its best. By the way, Jeff is looking for painters, so you can find Jeff Cohen and One Stop Painting on Facebook. Look him up. Brewster PC Solutions. He will travel to fix all your computers, printers, and phones. Electronics are his specialty. Call Wrestling Brewster to fix all your technology. And Quintal's Farmers Market. 1 Scobie Circle in Plymouth Industrial Park, right off of Cherry Street. Great prices, fresh produce, and yummy fresh foods. Open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday, rain or shine, because it's indoors, right there at his business. And I've been, and it's wonderful. You should go. I want to tell you about something. Last year, my husband Ken approached our representative, Matt Moratori, in regards to the gypsy moth situation in our town. A terrible, awful situation, which has become a health hazard because of the rashes and the problems that it brings to your skin, not to mention how it decimates the oak trees, and it's just a terrible problem. So Kenny asked Matt to create a bill, to submit a bill, which the state would come and spray for gypsy moths. And Matt did that. And this Tuesday up at the State House, June 6th, Ken and Matt will be at the podium giving testimony as to why the state should spray. And I'm thrilled about it, and so is Ken, and we thank Matt Moratori for doing this. Now, I'm sure tonight's two guests have a huge following, but I am very excited to have them here as our guests. They provide great products. Please welcome the owners of a very successful and famous business right here in our town, Ilene and Jeff Hills from Healthy Appetites. Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
I'm so thrilled that you're here because you provide such a great service. And, you know, to introduce you to the audience, could you give us a little personal background about the both of you, how you met, where you are? You know, you live here in Plymouth, and then we'll go right into the Healthy Appetites.
Well, we met in 1985 in college, and I always like to say Jeff followed me home, but it isn't really what happened. We were next door neighbors.
She was the girl next door.
I was the girl next door.
In the dorm?
No, we had apartments by then because I was a senior in college and he was a grad student.
Oh.
So we always say he came back to find me.
Oh, isn't that nice?
I say that.
It's
yeah.
true.
It's true.
So it was infatuation at first sight?
Jeff, was it infatuation at first sight?
I can only speak for my end, but
Yeah.
on my end, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't speak for her, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
course.
Well,
I did
you're-
follow her home after all.
You did. And you're an adorable couple.
Thank you.
And you live here in Plymouth.
Yes, we live downtown Plymouth.
That's fabulous. Downtown Plymouth is very exciting.
It's really fun,
It's great.
You can walk everywhere.
and we do.
Yeah.
We walk everywhere.
Yeah. My daughter loves it. She lives up on Mayflower.
I know.
She loves that. And then you decided to open a business.
We did.
When, and how long ago?
21 years ago last week.
Now, 21 years ago, I wasn't thinking that healthy, all right?
Yeah.
And so that was very brave of you to open the type of business that you did.
I don't think brave was the word a lot of people used for what we were doing.
Our families thought we were crazy.
Yeah.
Really? How did you convince yourselves and your family and friends that this was a good venture?
Well, we kind of came by it somewhat naturally, no pun intended. We were looking for something to do, or I was looking for something to do. Ilene had a great job. I did not. So we were looking for something that was more fulfilling than what I was doing. And I had been driving around looking for things to make some meals that we just wanted to put together, and was having no luck finding anything in the local supermarkets or any of the small specialty stores, or at that point, the Kingston Mall was still going strong, and there was plenty of food places there, but there were ingredients I just couldn't find.
Right.
So I found that if I was driving around trying to find these things, everyone else probably was too. And I realized that I often only found these things in health food stores that I would have to drive down to the Cape for, or up north for. And I said, if everyone else is driving this kind of distance, something that would be more centrally located to the Plymouth area would probably work. So I did all the due diligence. We talked to the Small Business Administration, did a business plan, kind of did a demographic study to see what would work, and decided that it wasn't that crazy of an idea after all.
If we could put our house up against the loan as collateral.
Now, see, that's what I mean as brave. You were brave. When people do that, and I've known a lot of people that have done that, and it's brave, and you have a lot of courage to do that, and you think a lot of yourself to be able to do it, and I admire that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Because nobody was thinking about it 21 years ago.
No, they weren't.
No.
And Jeff was driving 50 miles to get the ingredients that you needed.
I found that I was driving down to the Cape to
Me too.
this store and that store.
Yeah.
I mean, I would go down to, there was a health food store in Sandwich that has been gone for probably about the same time we've been in business. There was a great place if I wanted to drive all the way down to Brewster.
Yeah.
But there wasn't a lot of places where you could find ingredients that, unless you were making a beef stew.
Yeah.
I mean, you could find all the common things in a supermarket, but you couldn't find anything that was, ethnic or organic. So I knew that other people, I couldn't be the only person eating that way. And I knew that there were enough health food stores on the Cape and up north that there was a market for it. Just no one had really done it here at that time.
You had great intuition. When I was a kid, that's how we shopped, because First National, Stop and Shop, there were nothing like that, Purity Supreme. There were specialty stores and ethnic stores. And you went to those stores, and we had gardens.
Right.
Yes.
We had gardens.
Yes.
I knew that we had a good shot to make it, though, because Jeff is, all right, Jeff, don't listen, because he hates when I say it. Jeff is brilliant. And anyone who's spoken with him knows that, or heard us on the radio.
Yeah.
He's brilliant. You can call us, and we can take anything. He can.
Yeah.
I'm just the fluff.
I'm
the fluff.
You're the support.
I am.
Far from it.
But he is, I knew he had a really good shot, because he loves to help people. He was going to be a teacher when we met.
Oh, perfect.
And I tell him now he's teaching everybody about health.
Yes. So, now how did you know how to stock your store? What did you do? How did you learn about
that?
This?
Was some trial and error.
It really
but
was.
It was a lot of going to other people's stores and asking. I mean, people were helpful, believe it or not. Other health food stores, especially where I had no intention of opening anywhere near where they were.
Sure.
They were more than happy to tell me some things. No one wanted to tell me too much. But there were enough people who were interested in helping me open a store, distributors, manufacturers, people like that who, they had a vested interest in me being successful. So they would recommend things, and I would ask, what are your best sellers? I mean, I really didn't know what sold in health food. I'd never worked in a health food store,
Right.
Which is insane.
I had never taken a vitamin. It
Really?
wasn't like we were these people that you would think. We were young, and we saw a need in Jeff's brain, and we decided to go for it.
Yeah, here we go, bravery again, because, you had to have a good instinct as to what people needed. Did you ask any physicians?
I didn't.
Because they really didn't. When I would say I'd like to take some vitamins. Oh, you don't need vitamins because if you eat right, what if I don't eat right?
Right.
Well, and no one ever tells you what eating right means. They say, well, if you eat right.
Yeah.
Well, what does that mean?
What does that mean?
And they don't know.
Yeah.
And most people don't know. What's right for you isn't right for me, perhaps.
Right.
So
exactly.
That, one of the reasons we didn't bother to ask any physicians is, I had been told my whole life for different things I've been treated for at the doctors that what you ate didn't matter. I had terrible skin as a teenager, terrible. And I went to dermatologist, after dermatologist, different ones in high school and college. And every one of them told me, it doesn't matter what you eat. Because, I would say I think all the things that a teenager would think. Well, if I eat a pizza, is that going to make me break out? If I have, something fried, is that going to make me break out? And that might not necessarily be the case, but to tell somebody that your diet has no impact on your skin is crazy.
You are what you eat.
What else could you be?
Yeah, I learned that the hard way, but you are what you eat. And even gastro-wise, you have to be careful, and the older you get, and I'm sure you get people in the store for that type of healing, but women's issues, and men?
Oh yeah,
absolutely. And we're in our 50s,
yeah.
So we can relate.
Oh my goodness, you don't look it.
We live.
Really?
We walk the walk.
Yeah.
So we can relate, even though we maybe look a little younger. We still have some of the issues of being in our 50s.
Sure.
And we can relate to our customers too.
Yeah.
And we get a lot of people in for women's issues, menopause, perimenopause, even teenagers that are having issues.
Yeah.
Men,
yeah.
prostate issues.
Mm-hmm.
My dad had prostate cancer, so I'm very deep in, what helps naturally.
I want to talk about that, but before I forget, I had an eye problem, and I tried to take care of it myself, and it was very hurtful. And I even used garlic, and that's how I was raised. Nothing was helping. So Kimberly, our daughter, said, "Ma, I'm going down to the health store. I'm going to get something." I said, "Kimberly, I'm going to go to the doctor." And she goes, "Don't do that yet." And she came back with a bottle. And I'm sure you know what it is. But all I know is within a matter of hours, it took it away. And I didn't go blind, And it was wonderful. I used it for 2 to 3 days more, just to be sure, and I was amazed at what happened.
I don't think your experience is that unusual. I think that people are generally kind of surprised when they come into our store and they've never used anything natural, and it works, and it works fast, and it works better than the things that they had been doing.
Yeah.
So that's not unusual to have that experience. That's how we get a lot of our customers, our return and our steady customers, is they will try something. They don't think it's going to work.
They tell us it's not going to work.
Yeah, they'll come up and say,
yeah, this isn't going to work, but I'll try it.
Constantly, I'm going to buy this. It's not going to work. It's not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know why they're buying it.
This is why I said to my daughter, I said, "Kim," she says, "No, you're going to use this and you're going to be surprised." And I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot of things that if people would do them, they would be shocked
Absolutely.
at how fast they work, how efficiently they work, how inexpensive they are, the fact that there's no side effects, and that it might be something that they could do instead of something that they can get over the counter or from a physician that would have side effects.
I'm not on anything. I don't take any medications, but I am on potassium. And one day I skipped it, and I'm supposed to take 2. I felt it. And I take a potassium, you know, vitamin D, vitamin C, and you know, I take that type of that's all I take. I'm not on any kind of medications. And it made a difference. I thought I had taken it, and I was wondering why I was so lethargic. And I said, oh my goodness, I forgot to take my vitamins yesterday. And sure enough, it was amazing to me. And this just happened a couple of weeks ago. So, you know.
Well, I don't think that a lot of people understand that the things that you would purchase in a store like ours are more often than not things that are not foreign to your body. They're things that are part of your body, and some things that your body uses all the time.
Yeah.
You know, for instance, you mentioned potassium.
Yeah.
We sell a lot of magnesium
Yeah.
for people who have leg cramps or heart
Yes.
issues or any sort of muscular issue
Right.
or migraines. There's a lot of things that people come to us to get that are just either adding more of to your body. You know, you need a little more to make you feel better. For instance, you know, vitamin D you mentioned too.
Sunshine for your brain.
Yeah.
And I think that people feel, I think a lot of people think that when you come to a store like ours, you're getting these kind of odd, strange, you know, herbal concoctions and things that are, you know, meant to be kind of a variation of something that you would get from a doctor. And a lot of it's just kind of things that you just kind of need, things that would be in your food if we were eating food that had enough of that particular thing in it.
Well, you know, years ago, parents cooked in iron pans.
Yep.
They had gardens, like I said. They used a lot of fresh foods. They kept them over the winter.
Right. There wasn't pesticides on our
No, and or our meats.
foods. Right. Or hormones.
Hormones, which is why people are fat today. I'm sorry, but that's you're eating chickens and beef that have hormones and they've been injected.
Right.
And what do you think that happens to you when you eat that?
Right.
You're eating those hormones.
Yeah, I mean, even a bigger problem is that, you know, most of the antibiotics, think about all the antibiotics that go into people.
Yeah.
Most of the antibiotics in this country go into animals that we're going to eat. So I think that it's something, the number might be actually 90% of the antibiotics we use in this country are going into the cattle, the livestock that we're going to end up eating or whose milk we'll end up drinking. So it's a problem.
It is a problem. I do know some things have to be done health-wise. I mean, I'm not an advocate of milking a goat or a cow and bringing it in the house and drinking it. And I know there are people, it's just it's something I don't do. But there are people, and I know one famous one that does that in this town. He loves goat milk.
Well, that's a big, raw milk is a big thing. And I think if it's done right, it's incredibly safe. But you got to know how to do it right.
You have to know. That's what he said. And but it's just one of those things. I mean, we want to live a long time, and there are things that we can do or be aware of, and don't be so lazy about it, and get it and do it.
Exactly. It's very simple. If you eat simply, like people ask me all the time about their diets.
Yeah.
This diet, that diet. People are making millions on these diet books. I said, you want a diet and you don't have to spend any money on a book? Stop eating processed food.
Stop eating processed food and eat smartly.
That's right.
I just dropped 26 pounds.
Good for you.
And I wasn't really aware I was doing it, but I just cut out the junk, and I made myself aware of what I was eating, putting in my mouth, and do I really need that?
Right.
And I feel much better.
Oh, good.
You know, it's not easy to lose weight, especially a person my age. It's your hormones slow down.
Right.
That's a big problem.
Do you have aids at the store for that?
Absolutely do.
You do?
No stimulants. We have safe things that you can do to help you lose weight.
Wow.
No miracle pills.
No, there is no such thing. You
Right.
have to be in the 100%
That's
yourself.
Right. That's right. But they do help. They do absolutely help.
Yeah, you have to work at it still.
Yeah.
Well, the both of you are fit and trim, you know, and I'm sure you do a lot of walking living downtown.
We do.
Not in this weather lately.
No, nobody is.
But yeah.
What is the weather for tomorrow? Do you know?
I don't know. Do you know? It's our
I
day
just
off.
assume it's going to be crummy.
I hope not.
It's been crummy so much lately that I just kind of figure it's going to be crummy.
I hope not. I'm just so sick of it. We put up the tent and looking forward to sitting in it. A good day tomorrow,
Oh,
Steve.
good.
Now, you have tons of customers. Now, you're on Facebook.
I am.
Yes.
We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram.
Oh, see, I don't do Twitter. Kenny does Twitter.
Okay.
He
He does, because he likes some of my stuff, and I always appreciate it.
I'm just too busy to see. I'd be consumed by it.
But Jeff isn't on it either. Only me.
I literally joined Facebook like a year ago and somehow weirdly got locked out of my account and just got back in.
And he never looks at it.
Yeah.
So, I
So if
haven't
you
friended
friended
anybody
him,
yet.
Yeah.
and he didn't friend you back, it's not because he didn't
No,
want
I
to.
didn't.
It's just not there.
I have 0 friends.
Pretty much. Oh, I'm your friend.
I have 1 friend.
One friend.
That's all you need.
If it's a good friend.
Yes. I understand you've won awards.
We have won awards.
That's great. Talk about it.
Our first big award was in 2004. They had a thing on the news on Channel 7 saying, "Who's your favorite health food store?" So we didn't even know about it, and he got a call from Channel 7 and said, "You were voted the best health food store in New England." And we're like, "What?" And Whole Foods came in second, and Trader Joe's came in third.
Oh my goodness!
So we have been embraced by this town for a long time.
Yeah.
But Jeff almost passed out.
I don't really remember the phone call.
Yeah.
I just know I got the phone call and that they said that we had won.
That's wonderful.
So,
Yeah.
it was pretty.
And they did a news
crazy.
clip and
That's
everything.
wonderful.
It was so great.
That's wonderful. Well, I hope your business continues to grow because you're very worthy.
Thank you.
Thank
My
you.
sister told me today she wants to go, and they live in Bourne.
That's great.
You know, so
Bring her up.
yeah, I will. I will. Now, what are your hours?
We're open 9 to 6 on Monday through Friday, 10 to 5 on Saturday, and we are closed Sunday because it's a day of rest. It's a day. We just have to have a day off.
It should be.
So
It's an intensive thing. I mean, it's tough to get people who can take care of the store for you.
yeah.
It's something.
And know
where
what they're
it's-
doing.
And no one does
Yeah.
it like us.
Absolutely
They just
not.
don't, it's our baby.
Yeah.
So we like to be there.
So, how about creams for the face?
Yes.
You do.
We do many creams for the face.
Yeah.
We do natural, no parabens.
Yeah.
I've got one cream that we were his second customer, so he now sells it in Beverly Hills. I use it, and we can
What's
sell
it
it
called?
really cheap because we were second. It's Reservage,
Reservage.
right?
Replenish.
Oh, thank you. Replenish.
Reservage.
Reservage is one of our.
Replenish Plus.
Is one of our
It's a different company.
different company.
It's another
I love it.
anti-aging company.
So it's Reservoir?
No, it's Replenish Plus.
Thank you.
Replenish.
I'm
No,
like,
I'll
where's
never
the
get this
bottle?
straight. I'm going to have to come in. Now, do you have anything that takes the face, lifts it, puts it up over here?
Oh, geez, I wish. I wish.
We're working on that.
I have to say, I do a supplement that I think I looked pretty young at 38, but I started doing
Oh, you look. I would never guess you're in your 50s.
Thank you.
Never.
But I have celiac disease, which is a gluten allergy, and I didn't know I had it till I was 40. So I lost my hair, and I had really achy joints. I have arthritis from it because I found out too late.
Oh,
However, I
right.
started doing a supplement called hyaluronic acid. It lubricates your joints, what we didn't know at the time, because we were one of the first people to carry it, it also lubricates your skin. And people started asking him, when I was 38 years old, if I had had a facelift. People just started noticing it.
Yeah.
Because it fills in.
Oh, can I take that?
Sure.
No,
and
it's something.
And you won't be in pain.
Oh, good, because I have arthritis.
Me too, still. So when I miss it, I start to stiffen up.
Oh.
So
I have a friend that has that same disease.
The celiac.
I'm going to tell him. I bet he comes into your store anyway. I'm not going to give his name. I'll talk to you about it later. But I'm going to talk to him about going in.
And you don't have to have celiac to do that. I mean, I do that too. It's something that I just think is one of the best supplements out there as far as, I mean, who doesn't have joint pain?
Yeah.
People our age, you always, I mean, I've had joint pain since I was in my 40s. So it's something that I think is a problem for much of the population. And if you can take something that makes your joints feel better and just, as a side benefit, it makes your skin look better, it's a pretty good thing.
It also helps
we're going, right?
It also helps your eyes because it lubricates your behind your eyes.
Oh.
So I've been wearing glasses since I was 9.
That's it. I'm coming. I'm coming in.
Sold.
Sold. And I was going to say something that went right out, but I want to. What?
Yes,
do you have it? Oh, that's what I want.
Absolutely do.
For your memory, yes. Now, people come in and ask you a question, and you know what every product does and does not do, and the side effects. Somebody told me to take niacin.
For your cholesterol?
No. Was it niacin or that other thing?
Depression?
No. What happened to me was...
You flushed.
I'm in a store with my sister, and all of a sudden, now this is the dead of winter, I had to take off my coat. I said, Linda, something's happening to me.
You flushed.
And she goes, oh my goodness, you're all red. I have nothing like that. And we went outside, and it went, away a little bit, and I got in the car, and it came back. What's going on? She goes, are you taking anything different? I said, no. Finally, after about 15 minutes, I tell her, she goes, that makes you flush and get hot. I said, ugh.
Oh, and that happened to me too, and you got to wait till it wears off.
Yes.
Yes,
never again.
It's uncomfortable.
If you take enough niacin, so that's B3,
as
in the niacin form, as opposed to the niacinamide form, which is how most multivitamins will have
some form
the
of
niacinamide form. That won't make you flush. If you take niacin, it makes you flush pretty badly if you take more than like 100 milligrams.
Yeah.
I remember one time you went home from work.
I did.
You said, something's wrong with me.
Something's wrong.
Yes.
And she looked terrible, and it turned out that she had taken a product that had a significant amount of niacin in it and didn't realize it. So she thought she was sick.
Yes.
I did. I thought we had the flu.
I thought I was having a heart attack.
Yeah, it's terrible. But we have no flush niacin, so you don't flush and you can do niacin.
And it's
See,
great.
you know what you're talking about.
It does work for your cholesterol. It's very effective. It's something that you can get from a physician. Only when you get it from them, they'll give you slow-release niacin, as opposed to we sell no flush niacin. So slow-release niacin is niacin that will do just what it sounds like. It'll slowly kind of release into your body. But that's terrible for your liver.
Right.
It sits in your liver and
Dear
slowly
God,
releases. And more than half the people who take the pharmaceutical version of niacin end up with liver damage. Whereas that's not going to happen if you take a no-flush niacin.
I took it for 2 days, 1 day, 2 days, boom.
Yep.
Thank God. I mean, I put it right down the toilet.
I wanted to go through our shelves and just take it off.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
It was scary.
Yeah,
so I said, never again. If I'm going into the health store and I'm asking the doctor who doesn't believe in vitamins,
No, they don't always. I mean, some of them are really getting better. I see it going in two directions. Some of them are really embracing supplements, and others think that we're the devil.
I want to tell you a story, and I know you can relate. Everybody knows Kenny has cancer, and we in the beginning, we were looking toward healthy things to alleviate certain outcomes that he was having. And I just came right out with it, right to the doctor, and I said, what do you think about marijuana? He said, well, I can't tell you to smoke it. He said, I do not advocate for that. He said, but, he said, under guidance, he said, if you had a little taste of it, he goes, don't forget, you're not used to things like that. So, but we never did it. Thank God there wasn't a need. But he agreed there is a medicinal value to marijuana.
There is.
And he listed them.
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
And they're discovering more and more every day.
There's a whole hospital in Israel that deals with cancer using marijuana.
Yes, and there are other places. Years ago, when my grandmother was pregnant, they prescribed marijuana cigarette for her nerves. I could not believe it. But of course, in those days, too, they had, way back when, real Coke in Coke.
Right.
I don't advocate for that. But, you know, they've come a long way in regards to acknowledging these healthy remedies. And what do you have for cancer patients?
We've got a few things. Well, they always tell you to take a strong probiotic. So when people with cancer come in, most of the time we go right to the probiotics, right?
That's one of the things. I mean, there's certain things that I think of as, and I'm not alone in this. This is kind of common thinking in the health food industry. Is there's foundation products, things that everybody should do, especially if you're trying to treat something serious. Everyone should do a good multivitamin. I'm not talking about, you know, something that, you know, one of the commonly advertised on TV ones. I'm talking about something that's really got something in it. A good fish oil. If you're allergic to fish,
I'm
of course,
coming
don't
in
do that.
for that in the vitamins. Yep.
Yeah, and then the probiotic would be the other
Now,
thing.
what is a probiotic? I think I know what it does. What does it do?
Probiotics are the beneficial bacteria in your intestines.
Yes.
So they are responsible for a lot of things. Of course, they're a big part of your digestion. They will help you metabolize some of the food you're eating. They will form a protective layer between the wall of your intestines and the interior of your intestines, so that the food has to kind of go through this, basically a layer of bacteria to get to the intestinal wall. They will crowd out bad bacteria, things that don't belong there. If you take a probiotic, it'll kind of terraform your intestines to a certain extent, and it will make the pH the right pH. It'll make it comfortable for the things that belong there and uncomfortable for things that don't belong there.
Okay.
But that's really important for things that
Shores
people
up your
don't
immunity.
think of. Yeah, most of your immune system is the bacteria in your gut. It's not you. It's the things that live in you. Are your immune
Yes,
system.
and that's why it's important.
In your vitamin D, if you don't have proper intestinal flora, you can't make serotonin properly. So, I mean, there's a lot of reasons why you've got to do a good probiotic.
It doesn't make you go, does it?
No.
Well, if you were constipated, it might help you go, and if you were going too much, it might help you stop.
It just
so
regulates
it
you.
just balances things.
See, I thought it was used for something else, and now I understand.
For years, I mean, even when we've been in business for 21 years, I would say the first 10 years we were in business, no one bought a probiotic unless they were on antibiotics.
Right.
And that was it. And we probably had 10 probiotics in the store. We probably have 100
We have so
now.
many now.
I eat sushi, but it's vegetable sushi, because I had a bad experience, and the doctor sent me to a health food store to get something to fight
Parasite cleanse?
Yes. Yeah. And that took a long time. That took months.
Yeah.
And I was shocked. You know, I'm sure it was just one of those flukes, but I just eat vegetable sushi now. You know, I'm not going to push it.
I love sushi too much.
So, but you sell that too.
The probiotics?
No, the parasite cleanse.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's things to help, you know, add good bacteria.
Yeah.
There's things to
Yes.
fight bad bacteria.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that we sell that's been super popular has been for UTIs.
Yes.
So that's,
yeah.
I mean, that's just a
Yeah.
bacteria that's, you know, it's in the E. coli family.
Yeah.
Almost everybody who has a UTI has that particular bacteria.
Yeah.
It's responsible for 9 out of 10 of the bacterial infections. And you take this stuff, and it doesn't act like an antibiotic per se. But what
Yeah.
it does is it literally attaches to the bacteria and like drags it out of your body.
Yeah.
So I mean,
wonderful.
there's things like that, so you can do things that
They're
are
simple.
fighting bad bacteria, and you can do things that are adding good bacteria.
And also, since I have been dealing with cancer in my family too,
Yes.
and I spoke to the doctors at Dana-Farber, they were very excited to see on my mom's list for, you know, turmeric.
Turmeric. I was raised on it.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And CBD is a form of
Yeah, it's
hemp.
cannabidiol. So
Yeah.
it's the other famous chemical in pot. So it's
But
you know,
we can
people
ca-
know
but
people
we can
know,
carry
people
it.
know THC.
So we've
Oh.
carried CBD for a long time.
Oh, okay.
That also helps with cancer.
Well, you do know that medical marijuana places are opening up here in Plymouth.
Oh, they are.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought they were trying to be blocked, but I don't want to be political.
Yeah. Well, we want to know what the state's going to do.
Right.
But medical marijuana is a different,
It's a whole different
yeah, a
animal.
whole different animal. What were you going to say, Jeff?
Well, I mean, that's something that's been around for we've had it for probably a year and a half, and
The
it's
CBD, yeah.
yeah.
we can sell it because it's not derived from marijuana.
Yeah.
So the stuff that we have is derived from essentially the same plant, the hemp plant.
Yeah.
So the hemp plant has been kind of selectively bred to have little or no THC, so they can be used for things like clothing and rope and things like
Well,
that.
you know, when I was on the Revenue Idea Task Force, and my goal and I was tasked with was to find out about marijuana, and I researched Colorado, California, and parts of Canada, and brought it to town meeting floor, and they passed the medical marijuana end of it. You know, people are becoming aware of the medicinal values of our plants.
Absolutely.
My grandfather was great for that. He would go out and know exactly what to pick and what did what. And that's how they did things then,
Right.
Oh yeah.
you know. When I had a fever, my mother would rub me down with what we called was rachi. I called it rot gut. My mother, you know, took the fever right away, but she could also clean her windows with it. You know, it just, that's, you know.
That's what they did.
That's what they did.
Well, I think the nice thing about marijuana being so in the news now,
Yeah.
and being like kind of in the front of everyone's mind, is that we're going to start talking about other medicinal plants, and hopefully it's going to
Yes.
kind of it's going to take the stigma away from not just pot, but hopefully from the stuff we sell. I mean,
Yeah.
we are aware that people still look at us and think, oh, that's that hippie store. You know, that's they sell all those weird herbs and twigs
Yeah,
and seeds.
Jeff
and
is
stuff.
like the opposite of a hippie.
I
too.
know.
It's so
He's a
funny.
geek.
He's a geek.
Yeah, that's like.
I call him an egghead.
Pretty not,
Egghead.
pretty not hippie-ish.
Yeah, yeah, you are.
Not that I'm anti-hippie.
I'm more hippie.
Anti-hippie. Yes, Stephen. Stephen has a
I have
question.
a couple of questions for you. One is there such a thing as a multivitamin that, you know, you will cover all, you take one vitamin that covers everything, or?
You
Because
can-
you see them in the store, they have all kinds of multivitamins, and,
Yeah.
you know, are they really work, or do you have
Depends.
I can't speak to, depending on the store, I can't speak to some of the stores and what they're stocking. But, you know, the stuff that we're selling is pretty comprehensive. And I think that the whole idea of a multivitamin is to kind of have your bases covered.
Yeah.
So people will tell me, I eat really well. I don't need to take a multivitamin. And I'll tell people, well, I drive really well. I still wear a seatbelt. You know, so it's covering your bases. It's like here's a little extra layer of protection
I
for
love
you.
you.
You've got things covered. You know that you've got the adequate B, C, vitamin A, some of the trace minerals. You won't get in a multivitamin certain things. You won't get a lot of the things that you would use to build bone because they don't fit in a multivitamin. Multivitamins, one pill, unless you want to have a pill that's that big, the other minerals that you would use for bone, like calcium, magnesium, things you use in quantity, don't fit in a multivitamin.
Right, and you can't put fish oil in a I mean, you can put it in it because they put tiny traces in it.
And you'll find
But
them.
you should take it separate.
I was raised on fish oil.
That's
which is
excellent.
great.
And the dropper of vitamin C.
That's great.
So that's how we were raised. But
You were ahead of your time then.
Yeah, you were way
my
ahead of your
mother,
time.
they did everything holistically. But what,
And
Stephen?
the other question I have is, I've been told I have autoimmune something.
Me too.
Is there anything for that, or do you know? I still have to go for more tests to find
Yeah.
out which one I have. But
Okay.
if they tell me it's whatever, could I come in and talk to you guys?
Oh, sure.
Absolutely.
It's better to know exactly what you're dealing with, but there are definitely ways to manage autoimmune diseases.
Yeah, absolutely.
See what you discovered tonight? Two wonderful guests.
So they are, and you were mentioning about antibiotics in food and things like that, and I've known that for a long time. Especially, I do a lot of work with dogs, and there's a lot of breeders now. They're into this raw food,
Right.
and it's all they feed their dogs raw chicken necks, goose necks, and raw raw beef ribs and vegetables. And they did this because a lot of their dogs were dying from diseases that they never had when they were in the wild.
Right.
So if
They're putting a lot of poison in all of our food, even our animals.
So if they do that, so it's in all of our food.
Right.
And I wish the FDA would be
Yeah.
more, in line and trying to do something with it.
It's just such a complex issue. You
It
know,
is.
what
It
is
is.
okay and what isn't, because it's not about what's good and what's not good. It's about what's good, what's not good, and what's politically expedient. So people will, in the government, the people who should be in charge of our food supply will side with big corporations who want to put crummy things out there because they're the ones who are financing
the money.
campaigns. So, I mean, it's
That
unfortunate.
has to stop.
All the drug commercials.
Yeah.
If
If you have IBS, take this pill. Might cause death. In the you know what I mean?
Gee,
That was
the
one of the side
list,
effects.
the
I'm like, I'll
list
have IBS over death. Thank
and
you.
The list that goes on the television on these medications.
And we're so desensitized.
I laugh.
You know what? If we wanted to do one thing that would make the country as a whole a better place, it would be to stop advertising drugs on TV.
Right.
We should ban it like we did cigarettes. Think about the things that people go into a doctor for and ask for. They saw a commercial about it. They don't even know if they have the disease, and they'll go in and say, I think I should be on this particular medication. Because they saw it on TV.
That's very true.
Unbelievable. And you'll never see the people on the networks. None of the big news organizations will say anything negative about drugs.
They can't.
And when I say
They
drugs,
own
I
them.
mean pharmaceuticals, because they're paying the bills. You don't bite the hand that feeds you. And they spend over $9 billion a year on television advertising.
Yeah.
So you never see them come out against this. Now, there was a woman, Cheryl Atkinson. She used to be on
remember.
CBS. She was one of their big investigative reporters.
Yeah.
You know, she quit over this, that she wanted to do a story about a drug where they had to pay out the biggest payout in their history of pharmaceutical payouts.
Yeah.
And it didn't even make the news. This was the biggest payout ever. And she wanted to do a story on that, and they didn't even do a story. It was unbelievable. They just completely buried the entire thing, and they said that it was because the people who she was going to be talking about were people who were paying for advertising.
You know, I think that's why our show on ATD was so popular, because we talked about a different way to go, and you don't really see that in the media. If they're not trying to sell you something and ram it, if you look up things, they
hype you up.
You always get the commercials first. And we demystified it.
That's why I want to tell people, I've asked Jeff and Ilene to do a show through Talk of the Town once a month. They might do it twice a month. It depends on how we're doing. And they've agreed, and I love it. And so they'll be here, in a few weeks with a guest star themselves. I keep telling them TV's a little different than radio,
different.
But they'll get used to it, and because they have a great product. And I know I'm going, so, and I know that you've been able to be seen by a lot of people that didn't know about you. So that's a very good thing. Now, you were on WATD. What happened?
Well, we had been on the station for about 8 years.
Yeah.
And we had quite a popular nighttime show. We were on from 6:15 to 7 for I think we did that for 4 years, maybe
5 years.
And we had acquired quite the following for that. You know, our understanding is it was the most listened to show on the station.
Right.
Yeah, we also won Best Personalities in South Shore Magazine 2 years in a row. And we were shocked because we only were on 45 minutes a week.
Yes, and that's a big magazine.
It was pretty shocking. I mean, we picked up the magazine and we really just wanted to see if we won Best Nutrition Center, which we kind of want to win every year.
Yes,
and we've been lucky enough to do that. So, you know, we've got quite the streak going as far as winning that, but we never thought we would
I went to see which one of my friends on ATD or somebody won, and there was our name, and I was standing in his store, and they were like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, and I was close enough to run to our store, and I'm like running in. Everyone's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, and he's in the back room. I'm like, Jeff, wait, look at this! I couldn't even speak.
Yeah,
it was pretty funny. I mean, it was a lot of fun to do the show.
It was.
They just kind of decided they were going to go in a different direction, and they wanted particular informational shows. I mean, we always considered ourselves an informational show, but they went with more all financial sort of shows at that time hour. Now they were going to move us. They were going to move our show. Unfortunately, they made these decisions and signed contract with all these people
before telling you.
They didn't ask us first. So, you know, when they did ask us, we said, you know, we're really not interested in doing a show from 7 to 8. We had been doing a show from 6:15 to 7 for so long. We had built that audience.
Yes.
We didn't really want to hand it over to somebody else because we had spent all that time building that audience. It's a lot different kind of going on the radio at 7 to 8 than it is from 6:15 to 7.
Tell me about it. Yeah.
For one thing, I mean, we have real jobs. I work all day on the day that we were on. Adding an extra hour to my day was pretty difficult. So that was one of the kind of deal killers. We weren't thrilled that we weren't asked.
Did you get phone calls? Where are you?
A lot of phone calls.
Yes.
It was kind of
We still do. Because our snowbirds are coming back, and they're like, "Where are you?
Where are you?"
And we do get asked a lot, and you know what? It was a great experience. We probably wouldn't be here right now if we hadn't done that. We met a lot of nice people, and we appreciate the opportunity that they gave us.
Yeah.
And it was great.
And it was
really great
and
to do.
You know what? We're not the owners of ATD, so you know we respect.
Of course.
Yeah. I wouldn't want someone telling me how to run my store.
No, you
when they
wouldn't.
Made that so when they made that decision, we said, it's your decision. It's your place, but we just kind of opted out.
So financial shows, I mean, how many financial, do you know how many financial shows there are on the radio stations?
I do, because I'm a talk show junkie.
Me too.
Yeah.
I go to sleep listening to that.
Yeah.
I have a favorite station in New York.
Yeah, you got to really search now.
Yes.
Because they're taking off a lot of the talk.
Right.
It's true. It's scary. There should be more talk.
Yeah.
But and I'm not just saying that because we do talk.
We do talk. We talk.
But it would be nice if there was more talk.
Yeah. Well, there are some quality ones, and I get a big kick. I learn a lot.
Me too.
And then I formulate my own opinion. Mm-hmm.
Well, hopefully we'll teach people things once a month here.
Yes.
That we would have taught them on the radio.
Yeah. Right. And, you can bring in some of your products and show what they look like or whatever, have a little show and tell.
I'm sure it'd be a little different. I know that, when you're here, you have to be careful about brand name sort of things and,
Yeah.
And I can't wear my pajamas like I did on the radio.
Like you did on the radio. Yeah.
I know. I came in for something. They were having a forum for selectmen, and I came in. There you were, with the baby.
That's right.
Whose baby was that?
I don't remember. That was a guest.
You had somebody there. You had.
There was a baby?
Yeah, there was somebody with you.
Yes.
And she was in her pajamas.
I was. I don't lie.
What happened, honey?
Well, there's two things. I got a call earlier, and somebody was saying that they were letting me know that the show didn't air on time.
Yeah.
I told them to stick to it, and they said that they would like to call back in, so maybe you might want to ask them
Oh, sure.
to call, because a lot of people don't want to break up the conversation.
Oh, no. Listen, call in.
Call in.
830-3971. Call in.
Stevie wants to know, do they take credit cards at the store?
We do. We've been in business 21 years. We take everything,
Yes.
even American Express.
So you take
And
credit
Discover.
cards?
And Discover.
Of course, money is green. I mean,
Yeah.
credit cards, it
It's
doesn't matter.
so funny. Our business has flipped so much in the way of money.
Yeah.
We rarely see cash anymore.
Yeah.
We see mostly credit cards.
We've had days where we've literally touched barely $100 in cash.
Yeah.
Well, you know, people like to track, and it's good. You know, when I go to a store and they say, "Do you want your receipt?" Yes, I want it, because that's how I rectify my checkbook and things. You know.
Yes.
And I'm not the type that doesn't do that. I have to. I'm AA personality. I have to make sure everything is
Yeah.
right. But please call in. We have about 8 minutes left. You're welcome to call in and ask any question or make a statement, whatever you want to do.
Make it a nice statement.
Yes. What do you see as the biggest danger facing people in general?
Well, obesity, of course, is a
Obesity.
big
We
thing.
rarely see somebody over 40, I'd say, that's not on a pharmaceutical drug.
Yeah.
Usually multiple, because we have to ask, you know,
Yeah.
we say, are you on anything? Because there's some things you can't do in a health food store if you're on certain medication.
Absolutely.
And oh boy, most of the time, they are, and they're young.
yeah.
I mean, but
it's
do you
at
notice?
the point now where we'll say to people, "Are you on any medications?" And they'll say no, and then we'll start showing them things, and they'll say,
Oh,
"Oh, well, I am on that. I'm on Lipitor. Oh, I am on Prozac."
but it's a low dose.
But if it's Prilosec, Prozac, Lipitor, anything in those families, you know,
Yeah.
if it's an antidepressant, people act like that's not taking a drug.
Oh,
they
my
think
goodness.
if they're not on chemo, they're not on a drug.
I am just the opposite, and doctors get upset with me. Aspirin puts me to sleep. That's how susceptible I am to medication.
yeah.
So I had a tooth pulled once. A doctor insisted. I was so sick. I'm too sensitive to any kind of medications like that. So
You're lucky.
Yeah, well,
And that, you know, that's just, I don't like us to sound like we're bashing medications.
no,
'cause
I
there's-
know, but
We're
people
not.
have to.
Because there's great
My husband
medications
has
out
to.
there.
Yeah.
There are, and yes, I mean, my mom is going through cancer right now.
Yeah.
She has to be on medication.
Certain things.
Yeah, we're not anti-medication. We're just
But
there's a lot of unnecessary.
You know, when you ask, you know, what are the greatest dangers, you know, coming down the pike to, I think, to the whole country in general would be just the state of healthcare right now is
Yes.
horrendous.
Yeah.
I mean, no one can afford good insurance. I don't think there is good insurance. I'm not aware of anything that a normal person
You're
can
in a
afford
tough
that's
position.
decent.
You're in a tough position. Ken and I have bills, and thank God we have something, because I don't know what would happen, you know.
Oh yeah.
But there's a lot of people in that position.
It's tough. I
It
mean,
is
it's the scariest thing, I think, is that we have to fix healthcare. And I think one of the things we could do to fix healthcare, you know, like I said, I really do think if we would stop advertising drugs on TV, it would make a
That's
huge
a
difference.
very good thought.
But I think if we would stop putting people on kind of, I refer to them as parting gift drugs. You go to the doctor and you say, I have this. He doesn't really want to put you on anything, but you don't want to leave until you have something. So he says, here's a script for Prozac, here's a script for Prilosec, for whatever there is that
not
you
me,
might.
but I get it.
Antibiotics is
Yeah.
kind of the classic one where they know that you've got a cold, they know the antibiotic's not going to work, but up until recently, they would have just handed you an antibiotic. They still do it a little bit, but
A
not
little
like
bit.
they used to. It used
Yeah.
to be anyone who went in with the sniffle, even though it was viral. Antibiotics are not going to work in a virus. Here's a script for an antibiotic.
I think New York just put in rules and regs to doctors, not that they need any more, but if they prescribe any drug, they are to notify the state.
Oh, that's interesting.
They just put that through.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look at the heroin epidemic. I mean, that all stems from OxyContin. I mean, that's something where the medical community inadvertently started the heroin epidemic by
Now, there are
doing the
people
OxyContin
in
thing.
real pain. There are people, I've seen them.
They need it.
I had to fight for Oxy to get my mother Oxy in Florida. I know.
The thing of it is, though,
it has come full circle.
You have to know, and you just can't get off. You have to wean off.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
You have to be smart about it. I've never taken it, but I understand that it can be very addicting.
I think that's a
Well, there's an
great
addictive gene.
That's a great spot. I have that for the
Jeff has it.
for the
Oh,
opiates.
really?
Yeah.
But some people, like I could do an opiate and nothing. I don't have the gene.
Yeah.
But the people that do it turns a light on in them.
Oh.
And then you can't stop.
And the doctors, is this the one that has that? Is that
You
the one?
tested for that?
Yes, he did.
Back when it first started, 23andMe, the genetic testing thing,
Gave
would
you
tell
everything.
That's
They would tell
right.
you everything. Now it's like Ancestry.com. They basically tell you what your background is. But back in the day, they would tell you what you were predisposed
Yeah.
to. You know what?
Do I want to know?
Well, that was the argument, from the medical community.
Yeah.
Was should we be telling everybody what their problems are? As far as I am concerned, information is good no matter what it is.
Yes, it is. But I go pro and con with that.
I'm glad we knew because Jeff broke his arm and they wanted to give him an opiate and he knew that he couldn't take it. So we would have said yes to something that we knew. Maybe.
I'm good with pain, so I'm okay.
He is.
Yeah, I'm
he's
good.
tough.
I'm good with pain too.
I'm terrible.
Yeah.
So ask me if you come in the store about pain. I'll give you everything.
Yeah, I know you. I know a few people like you.
Oh, I'm terrible.
Yeah, and suck it up, Buttercup.
Yeah,
Come on.
exactly. Poor Jeff.
Well, I think we're going to see the medical marijuana come in
Yeah.
to play for people's
Yeah.
pain relief in a way that's going to cut a lot of these opiates out of the cycle, and we're going to see
Excuse
people
me.
do better because
Even the CBD we sell.
it's amazing. It's amazing. for pain.
It helps pain. It's helped so many people.
And it's non-addictive. That's the the
Right.
nice thing about marijuana is it's non-addictive.
It's not-
it's
right.
not addictive in the way that alcohol or the opiates are.
I'm sorry. My throat. I told you.
Yes, you lasted almost to the end, though.
The curtains. It's the dust in here or something. My throat just closes right up. Yes. What were you saying, Jeff?
Well, I was saying that we have this
Yeah.
this kind of opiate epidemic. We've got the opiates still being prescribed for chronic pain issues where maybe something else would do better.
Oh.
And I think we're going to see the medical marijuana come into play to take the place of the opiates. And I think that's a great thing.
At least it's organic. I want to thank you both so much for being here.
For having us.
They'll be back, and they'll be back alone or with a guest. And I so enjoyed this hour. It went by very fast. I'm not sure if Ken is going to do the Three Amigos next week, but I'll see you around town. Thanks for tuning in.
See you around.
Did you?